Hey everyone! We're going to get started in just a few minutes. I'm just waiting for a few more folks to join. Hey Miranda!
Hey Martine, how are you?
I'm well. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We're just going to give everybody a few more minutes to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Sounds good. I don't know why I'm really nervous.
I hate being on camera, so just so we're clear, this is an act of love right here.
Well, I hate like speaking, like all that. So I get the energy, but we'll make this fun.
We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. Don't be nervous.
Yeah. Well, you look really nice.
Thank you. You as
You're
well.
so, thank you. I didn't really try that. Like I just put on like earrings.
See, I did the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, oh, true client pro. Thank you. You're so sweet.
That was very nice. Hey, Maori. Great. We got Edith on now too. We're just giving
Yay.
everybody a few minutes to join, and then I promise to go ahead and get started. Just FYI, everyone, that because of the limitations of Instagram, we can only have one person live at a time. So we're going to start with Miranda, and then we'll bring on Edith afterwards. So just FYI.
Amazing. I plan to also repost this to my feed, so like anybody that is missing it can go ahead and just rewatch it as well.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
This is, let it go.
It's a beautiful day, so that's the good
I know
news.
I need to get outside. I've been cooped up in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing some editing.
It's nice. Yeah. Doing lots of editing, catching up on galleries, but it feels so good to just like finish
Right,
galleries once it's all done and
absolutely.
over with. But yeah. So, what about you? What have you been up to lately?
Oh, lots of work, lots of planning for a variety of events. I know, like it's been a kind of a crazy year, so just trying to work around the new rules and help clients understand those things too.
Yeah, I'm sure you're constantly following like the whole COVID guidelines and working with the venues and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so those things definitely need to be handled. And so just trying to make sure that all of it's covered for all of my clients. And as we
Yeah.
start, all right. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started, and we can always repost for those who don't see it. Thanks, everybody, for joining. My name is Martine Dardniak. I am the owner of Wedding M.D. and a wedding planner. As a wedding planner, my goal for all of my clients is really just to ensure that they have a lovely, beautiful, fun, fantastic day. I hear from a lot of people after the weddings that it really was necessary to have a wedding planner, but they didn't think so at the time. And so I'm trying to prevent the regret, right? Like make sure that you can kick back and enjoy and that your friends and family can do the same thing. So today, part of what I wanted to do is answer some frequently asked wedding questions that we get. Another part of my job is really just to ensure that I connect all of my couples with the right vendors. And so today we have Miranda Suess from Suess Moments, and we will also have Edith from Glamurosa Event and Floral Design. We're going to start with Miranda, as I'd mentioned earlier, just because limitations. We can't have all three of us on at the same time, which was really the goal, but we'll do the best that we can. And so right now we're going to go ahead and get started with Miranda. Miranda, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Well, I am Miranda Suess, cat mom, the girl with the red hair that loves Disney stuff. So basically, I work with couples mainly and do their weddings, engagement photo shoots, and then all other milestones that come up in their lives. So like new families, babies, the holiday events and so on. So usually, well, my branding basically is that I prep, guide, and capture moments. So that means I prepare my couples before photo shoots happen so they know what to expect and they don't go in blind or they wish they knew something. I got all the guides for them to make sure that they're super prepared. And then I guide them during the session with, because a lot of people come to me because they're like, oh, we don't want to feel awkward in our photos, or we don't want to look too posy. That's usually the concern. And what I do is just make sure that they feel super comfortable. They're having a good time. I'll bring my boombox to give the good energy. I'll have them do role-playing scenarios, and they're just having a good time and laughing, and I'm just capturing those moments candidly. And if you look at my portfolio, it's just basically just all emotion, because basically at the end of the day, it's really important that when they look at their photos, they can feel that feeling again. It comes back for them, or that exact memory, for example. So that's why I do what I do, and I love what I do, and that's why I'm here today, I guess.
Well, I think that's really important because one of the things that gets kind of hard is that, weddings go by in a flash. Like, it's so quick and you've spent all this time planning and trying to get to it, but it goes by so quick. Part of having a great photographer on hand, and why I love working with you, is because it's a fun day. You can have a great time, and those memories will come back to you when you get those pictures. One of the
Mm-hmm.
questions that I get a lot, though, honestly, is how long does it actually take to get those wedding pictures back after the wedding day is over?
So I always tell my couples that it's going to take up to 6 weeks at the most, but I have never done that before. It's always been like around the 1 to 4 week mark, just depending on how busy I am or if I have life stuff going on. It could take a little bit longer than normal, but they always get sneak peeks right after their wedding day. Usually it's within the same day. Sometimes I'll just work all night and just send them, or it could take up to 2 days. And they get sneak peeks, and they'll get anything from like 10 to 30 images, so that they have something instantly to share on social media and announce to the world that we're married and something to love. And in the meantime, well, I just go and retouch all the rest of their images in their gallery, and they should get it before the 6 week mark.
Very nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that one. Another question that I get often is, honestly, truly, how much time do you need in a wedding day to take the wedding photos?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, like you make timelines and everything for wedding days. I work on a timeline when it comes to photography portions. And usually when a client comes to me, it's their beginning phases. They either already have a planner or they don't. And they assume that they're going to only need like 6 hours of photography, but they don't realize that on their wedding day, as much as they want to be budget friendly maybe, is that they don't want to rush on their wedding days. Sometimes if they want their getting ready moments with their bridal party, first look with their parents, getting dressed, things like that, those special moments, it takes time. It's not, because it's not like I want to rush any of my couples on their wedding day. They only have to do it once. So I tell my couples I have two packages that I offer, and it's 8.5 hours is the minimum. And that includes, if they want getting ready moments, leading up to part of the reception, like an hour or two into the reception. Or they can go into the 10-hour collection, which is going to get them more time with two photographers. So one photographer is with the groom, or if they're marrying a same-sex bride, that is happening then, and I'm with the bride or whoever the groom is, just depending. So it takes like 10 hours for that,
Got it.
for a full day. Yeah.
Got it. And 10 hours really is what I've seen is one of those things that it really is kind of necessary if you
Mhm.
want the full breadth of pictures from the entire day.
Yeah.
But definitely important to keep in mind. There's a lot more happening than just the actual ceremony, and you definitely want to make time for all of those pictures. So thanks for answering that one too. Do
Yeah, of
you
course.
do you kind of work off of a shot list, or how do you decide like which pictures you're going to take in all that time?
Yeah, so it's really important that I get really clear communication with my couples. So within 2 months before their wedding day, I send a really deep dive questionnaire. I tell my couples, grab a glass of wine or a beer and answer this questionnaire together. So they're sitting side by side answering it. And it really gets deep into detail on what they want captured. There's even photos on there as examples, or maybe the bride wants detail shots of her dress or something in front of a window or something like that. Very like Vogue couture inspired kind of photos. And then the groom might want just like photos with his groomsmen taking shots or something like that. So these are things like couples don't really think about, but I put it in the questionnaire and they're tapping on every kind of photo that they want. And so I bring that shot list with me on the wedding day. Oh, and also I have my couples go on Pinterest and Instagram and pick like their favorites on there and send me those screenshots. So I even have that included on the printout to bring with me on the wedding day. So I know it's clear this is what they want. If there's specific people that they want pictures with that are important to them, it's on that list. I won't miss it. And then, of course, every single happy, joyful, tear crying, jerking kind of moment, I'm getting that captured as well, very candidly, because most of the time people just really want candid photos at the end of the day.
Right, right. We want to capture it as natural as possible. I
Yeah.
think that's important too. But yes, definitely important to also have an idea of what you want. So thanks for explaining that, because I think a lot of people do think that we're just going to go and the photographer will do what they do and we don't really need to worry about it. But if there are pictures that you want, you definitely want to mention that so that, it's top of mind. So that's really
Exactly.
important. I can totally see that. And as I'm planning, I will tell you there are many times where I've run into somebody who they think that once they've kind of booked all their vendors, they're done, with the planning piece of what's going to happen. And they don't realize that there's going to be more questions from your vendors to make sure that the day is what you want it to be and how you need it to
Yeah.
go. So it's really important.
Exactly. So I have some questions for you, Martine. If
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
absolutely.
awesome. So basically, I'm not in a wedding planner at all, but I always am curious because I hear planner, I hear coordinator, I
Yeah.
hear, all these managers, things like that. So what do you like? What are those, and what do you identify with?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the times with any industry, there's industry lingo that kind of sits inside, and people speak of it inside the industry in a particular way, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything to those outside of the industry. And so when you hear coordinator, it all sounds like the same thing if you're not
Mm-hmm.
inside the industry, but there are actually different levels of coordination. So, venue coordinator is one that comes up often. Your venue may have somebody on site that is there for the venue that is responsible for things related to the venue specifically. That person might be available on site to you, but they're not necessarily going to work with your other vendors, your other wedding vendors, if it doesn't have anything to do directly with it, working inside of the venue particularly. For me, because I don't work for a venue, there you can also hear the words a month of coordination. You can hear day of coordination. You can hear wedding management. Those three are sort of the same thing. One thing to keep in mind is it's impossible to plan efficiently and effectively if you are only showing up on the day of an event. It's not possible, right? You can't plan if we don't know what's going on. So I need details before showing up in order to manage that day well for my couples. And so we
Mm-hmm.
sit down and we talk about it at least a couple of months before. Even better is once you know that you're looking for a coordinator, once you've got them booked, send me the information that you're collecting, right? Send me your vendor list, send me information about what they're expecting from you and what they've promised to you on the day out, so that way I can manage it more effectively for you if I have all those details. I'm still going to call all of the vendors. I'm still going to work with them to get those details, but it's helpful for me to see what was happening beforehand if I'm going to manage your wedding. So wedding
Mm-hmm.
management kind of sticks to me as the thing that's really what's happening, because I think month of or day of doesn't necessarily give you the right timeline for what's actually expected to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the other thing. Then there's full planning, where this is where I'm helping you actually plan the entire event. I will source all the vendors for you. You don't have to do any of that work. I will make sure that we get questions answered and you interact, yes, with your other vendors, but primarily with me as I work with them. I definitely think it's important to know all of your vendors. And so there is some level at which you should connect with every vendor that's going to be there with you all day, because it's important just to feel comfortable and know that everybody around you is on the same wavelength about what you're doing. But part of what I'm doing is making sure that when I source those vendors for you, that I'm looking for people that match you and your style and
Mm-hmm.
will be good for you on your day. So a lot of it, again, I guess, is industry lingo, but ultimately the most important part is to speak to your wedding vendor and understand exactly what it is that they're giving you. I think sometimes people don't know the right questions to ask. And so this is why I wanted to do this and just kind of get people the right questions to ask and make sure that they understand what they're getting into before they get there.
Yeah. I just want to point out before we like open this for people to ask questions if they have any. I want people to know that I've worked with you on so many like styled shoots, which you look at me as an actual client. Like that's how you view me. So you treat me like one. You'll send me options if there's any hiccups with, a venue like isn't available or something like that. You're really, really good at like finding other options and coming up with creative like ways to fix problems. Like I know we're on the Capable Bride, but you're also Wedding MD, so you are like the band-aid if there's any issues on the wedding day. And this is why I continue to work with you, because I know I can trust you when it comes to, if I have an idea and I throw it at you, you're going to come back and you're going to be straight up with me like, hey, this is not going to work, but this could work.
Right.
And that's what I love about you. And that's why I highly recommend you to everyone I talk to that's looking for a planner or coordinator.
Thanks, Miranda. I really appreciate that. I'm always happy to help. And that's what I do, is trying to come up with solutions to those last minute problems. So it's always a pleasure. Well,
Yes.
Miranda, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to try and get Edith on now, so I appreciate it. As you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in. If we don't answer them on this chat, we'll definitely get back to you as well afterwards.
I can't wait to watch Edith. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're going to let this technical solutions work itself out, and we're going to try and get Edith on right now.
Hi, Martine.
Awesome! Hey, Edith! How
How are
are
you?
you? I
I'm chilling in my backyard.
You look beautiful. Thanks so
Oh,
much for joining us today.
it was meant to be for this special moment, of course.
Yes, yes, it's a beautiful day. So, Edith, please introduce yourself to everybody that's on right now and let us know how you're doing and who you are and what you
Who am I? That's the question.
do.
My name is Edith Villavicencio. I am the owner and lead designer of Glamurosa Floral Design. And we basically work with beautiful flowers. And we design events, we design weddings. We also we educate also our couples and our clients about flowers. Not many people know about flowers, and sometimes people think that they don't really understand the colors and things like that. And this is why I feel like we're not florists. This is not a florist, this is not a flower shop. It's actually a floral design studio, and as that we are actually designers, certified designers, where we will talk to our clients about the colors, the mood, maybe the venue I had a bride that wanted very tall arrangements for her wedding. And when I went to see the venue was very small. And I think that if we use tall arrangements, the venue was going to get lost
Yeah.
among a lot of flowers, which it's nice, but sometimes you have to think about the design. And so that's the difference, right? We're a floral design studio, not florists. So
Got
that's a
it.
big difference. And we're based in Maplewood in New Jersey, but we travel everywhere. You know, we love spreading the love. So anywhere they need us, we go over there.
Fantastic. Thanks for introducing yourself, Edith. So as you were talking about that, one question that I have for you is how do you come up with those designs with your clients?
So, like I said before, you know, one of the things that I definitely do is go to visit the venue. I don't want to design just floral arrangements just because I need to make money, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
about the money. It's about the design. It's about the colors, about the clients be happy with what the services we offer. So, we definitely had to go to the venue. We had to see the colors. Sometimes also, you know, we will ask, you know, what time is the wedding? Because there's some colors that are mostly for the day, and there's all the colors are for the night. So, or
Hmm.
sometimes the weddings go, you know, maybe they start about maybe the morning and then they end up in the night. So we want to make sure that the colors kind of transform the place,
Mm.
and also that goes into night and day. So, but I also want to hear the couple's story. So if this is a wedding, I every time that we design, I'm always thinking about what was the love story, how did they meet, you know, what was the colors that they use or things like that, you know. So I'm always trying to incorporate all of that into the designing of the wedding flowers. But I also want to know like what kind of flowers they like. Some flowers are not seasonal, and Pinterest actually, you know, show you all these beautiful flowers, and some of them are not in season. That doesn't mean that we cannot get them. I'm actually doing a wedding this weekend. Brandy, I don't know if you know me, you seen us. So I'm doing a wedding this weekend, and a lot of her flowers were not in season. So we had to call different places, different countries, and we were able to get a lot of the flowers that she wanted. But again, that has a price tag, right?
Got
So
it.
that's another thing that we also explain our clients, that you know we could get everything, almost everything, but it has a price. So, you know, so it's like I say, it's about educating the clients, educating the couples. That's what we do.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much. I think that for me, being basically flower illiterate, and I know that it's weird being in the wedding industry, but it's such a pleasure to work with somebody who's got the breadth of knowledge and who's got the design chops to help clients figure out what works best, and also why it's so important to pick things that are seasonal or that will work with your design, and your venue specifically. So I really appreciate that, because working with you, I definitely never have any questions that when it comes down to the florals that the clients are getting, the couples are getting, that it'll be exactly what they were looking for. Miranda says she loves your designs, and I agree completely. Love your
Oh, well,
designs.
I thank you guys. I actually, I wanted just to do a parenthesis here. When we were talking about having these questions and answer chat, it was mostly because we all both, don't know, the three of us work together. So we know each other very well, and we know some of the questions that probably our clients have. And so that's why I was like, let's do this. Let's have just, you know, let's introduce ourselves. Let's get to know each other more. But also, if there's other people that have questions, this is one of the platforms that we could answer the questions. So I love working with you. Love working with Miranda. We actually just got some pictures from Miranda, and I was like, oh my God, we did a style shoot. It's very tiny style shoot with the in Brooklyn. And I just got the pictures, and I was like, oh my God, this is insane. She's amazing. And of course, with you, you know, we always come to everything that we need to do. We always do it and more. So, but I have a
So,
question for you.
yeah.
And I know probably you already talked to Miranda about this, but I always hear my couples when I ask them, "Do you have a venue, a coordinator?" And they say, "Oh yeah, the venue will give me one."
Mm.
And I'm like, "No, that's not your coordinator." So tell me, what's the difference?
Well, so yeah, so I mean, again, as I was saying earlier, it's that the venue coordinator is there for the venue. I am there for the couple. They hire me. They are my responsibility, and making sure that their day goes smoothly is what I'm all about. The venue coordinator, of course, works for the venue, and because of that, like you definitely, want to make sure that the venue coordinator is if they've got one, it's not that they're not helpful. It's just that they're not looking out for you as a couple. So that's one of the biggest key differences there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I get that question a lot too, so I totally understand. So
Yes.
we've got a question from Sugar Fetish Cakery.
Hi,
Patricia,
Sugar
hey.
Fetish. How are you?
So
Thank you for watching.
is using greenery a cheaper alternative to using flowers?
I'm laughing because a lot of couples think that. And I'm like, what do you think that I'm gonna go just going around my neighborhood and cutting greenery? Like, no,
No, that's
no,
not how
I don't
that
do that.
happens.
That's not how it works. So actually, the price can be a little bit cheaper, but it also depends on what kind of greenery,
Yeah.
right? So like for example, lemon leaf, it's very classic, but it's also very basic. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people use it, so it's the price is lower. Also, there's something that is called these other different firms that I usually personally use them for funeral,
Hmm.
not for weddings. So it really depends on what kind of greenery, but definitely the cost is not gonna substitute the cost of the flowers.
Hmm.
It's nowadays because millennials are using a lot of greenery. Also, is the demanding supply, right? So
Yeah.
the more people want the greenery, the more expensive it's also gonna get. So it's not that expensive, but it's not also not cheap. So again, please don't think that because it's just greenery, it's gonna be a little tiny portion of your budget. It's not. It doesn't work like that.
Oh, got it.
So,
Got
but thank you for your question. Uh,
it. So Miranda actually has a question for you too. So, what are popular collections, and what are your popular collections, and what are included?
my collection in flowers.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of people use a lot of roses, which is very classic. The roses, the whatever is in season, right? Roses, astromerias. I don't know if that's the question. Let me just double check with Miranda if she's there.
There's
Yeah.
a little.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll definitely follow up on that one too. But just in general, like are we talking, a bouquet? Are we talking a centerpiece? Like,
Oh,
is there
packages.
anything kind
Okay.
of like package that kind of is standard? I know you
Okay.
customize everything,
Yeah. Yes.
but just in general, like, are there any pieces of the package that are kind of standard?
Oh yeah, well yes, a lot of people use like hydrangeas, roses. So that's like very basic package.
Yeah.
The hydrangeas, the roses. People that you see, things that you see in every wedding. The big bowls of hydrangeas that I was like, oh, I hate to do that. But a lot of people love them. So we design them. But that's very like that's the package that everybody wants.
Got it.
And I guess that's when it comes like my job is to like, educate the client and say, okay, there's more flowers than that. It's
Got it.
not just the hydrangeas, the roses, there's a lot more than that. So,
Right.
yeah, so basically that's the most basic package that we offer, when someone, especially for that couple or that person that don't really understand about flowers, then it's very simple for them to really understand what they are. And
Right.
because a lot of people, they are everywhere. But
Got it.
thank you for your question, Miranda.
So in my
Yes.
case, we most of the time with my clients, we have the wedding management, we have a full service planning. We also do partial planning. The
Hmm.
most popular package is the wedding management, though, for us, for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
So another
Oh,
question for you, Edith: how much should a couple realistically budget for flowers for
yeah.
a wedding?
Yeah. I think it all depends on how many tables. So the more tables you have, of course, the more flowers you're gonna need. The more bridal party you have, and you
Mhm.
want to have bridal bouquets. Most of the people that have small weddings, we're talking about 8 to 10 tables. We're talking about probably between 3,000 to maybe $4,000. And maybe it could be a little bit cheaper, maybe $2,500. But like I said, that's like the basic stuff with the hydrangeas, with the roses,
Right.
and maybe having 4 or 5 bridesmaids. But then we're talking about corsages, boutonnieres, and the bouquet for the bride. Our bouquets are they're very custom. Like,
Right.
and we always tell the couples, use your money, especially for the bouquet, spend your money in the bouquet because that's the one that's going to be in most of all the pictures. So you do
Right.
want to have the nice flowers, everything else also, it's important, but then I think that the bridal bouquet it's more important than anything else.
Absolutely. So another question that came up is how are you pivoting your services for 2020 and 2021 weddings,
Yeah,
especially during the pandemic?
yeah,
That's come up a lot, and I'm going to take this one first.
sure.
I've had to help a lot of my couples obviously reschedule their weddings. Many couples have also had to scale back the size of their wedding, especially if they
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to wait for another year to push it
Yeah.
off. And so, trying to find venues that match that are open, because not everybody's open yet right now. Outdoor spaces are huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more flexibility with outdoor spaces than there are with
Yeah.
indoor. And again, micro weddings are still happening. I think when we talk micro, anywhere from 2 to 50 people is a small
Mm-hmm.
sized wedding, right? And so it's just trying to make sure that I find the right space for them, ensure that they know what the rules are, and knowing that there are expectations about trying to reschedule weddings potentially because of the pandemic, understanding what they're getting into at this point, and obviously having helped all my couples that had to reschedule from the spring and earlier this summer as well, just making sure that everybody knew what the new rules were and how we could pivot for them.
Yeah.
Micro weddings, though, again, still, small weddings, having a planner in place is almost more important if you're doing like a backyard thing and you've got all these pieces that are coming in terms of making sure that everything is set up correctly and that it's going to move smoothly throughout the day. I found that even more important than big venues that have a kind of a routine, if you will, for what you do. Both are
Mm-hmm.
important, but even with the small weddings, just trying to help couples pivot and understand what they're getting into moving forward is has been helpful.
Yeah. So in my case, we do. I've been lucky that a lot of the weddings that I have this year, they were not canceled. They were just postponed for next year. But then also what they doing, the same couples are eloping.
Mm,
And so, that means that they want more flowers also. And yes, there's a lot of backyard weddings and they want to make the backyard weddings, nicer, right?
yeah,
So so we actually, it's a good thing for us, right? So we not only had the weddings for next year, but also for this year. But it's of course they are in the smallest scale, so we're not talking about the big 10 or 20 table centerpieces. They probably are going to be a lot cheaper. Let me move this thing because the sun is hitting. uh so it's so yeah, but we're definitely taking precautions. We are definitely using mask. We are also we always go there before everybody gets, like always, the guests and everybody, but now we go extra earlier
hmm
and to set up, so we don't have any contact with anybody. We set up, and most of the weddings that I do are also, like 20, 30 guests. In New Jersey, I believe that's where you had to be, in order to
right.
have a wedding, and so that's the kind of weddings we're doing. But it's like I said, it's because of the pandemic also, and I forgot to mention to the other question that we had about the prices. Because of the pandemic, the prices of the flowers went up.
Mm,
So in a way, whatever proposals that I had before and contracts that I had before, we probably gonna be not losing money, but we're not going to be making the money that we thought we were going to be making because the flowers are a lot more expensive now.
Got it.
So yeah, so I hope that I answered the question, but
You did. You definitely did. Well,
thank you.
it's been a pleasure chatting with you. We're going to get ready to wrap it up. Any final
Yes.
thoughts or comments for our viewers today?
No, well, just thank you for watching. We're gonna keep doing this. I know it's about lunchtime. The last time that we did the test, we had a lot more people, right? And it was like 9 o'clock in the night. But I think this is. Oh, thank you, Miranda.
Thank you,
I feel the same
Miranda.
way.
Same.
Yes. So, but thank you so much. Hopefully everything is gonna be better soon. Hopefully we're gonna be able to have those big weddings. And another thing, you need to hire a wedding planner. You
Oh,
need to hire a professional photographer. Trust me, it is worth the money. You will have beautiful wedding. You will have beautiful photographies, and but you need to hire the professionals. So this is why we came out with this, having professionals talking to people, and hopefully, they learn a little bit from us. But thank you for watching. Thank you, Miranda. Love you
thank
too.
you. Thank you all. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.